everyone. Yesterday we started talking about binomial distributions, and we were talking about some formulas that you could use to solve these types of problems. And this was the formula that we talked about, and I just want to review this problem. This was the problem we ended with class with yesterday. I just want to review the different components of it. Right? N is the number of trials. In this case, it was 3 because she tried 3 free throws. R is the number of successes. And that's where it says what is the probability that she will make exactly one of her free throws. So R is 1. P is the probability of success. So the probability of her making it is 1/2. Q is the probability of failure. The probability of her not making the free throw is also 1/2. And so we're just plugging in to this formula. And we figured out you could do this by hand, but you could also use this nifty command in the calculator, the binom PDF. And to get to that, we said if you do second vars to bring up the distribution menu, and then if you scroll down to binom PDF, and then you're putting in n first, so that's 3, comma, p, your probability of success, so 1/2 or 0.5. You could put it in as a fraction also. And then R, your number of successes. And then you hit enter and it'll do the calculation for you. Okay, so that command or that menu option is going to be really helpful when you're solving these types of problems. This is a formula that we will use for all of these problems. Let's go ahead and look at a different problem, still talking about Jean and her free throws, but it's worded slightly differently, so we're doing something that's a little bit different. Again, it says that she usually makes half of her 3 free throws, and she's trying 3. In this case, it doesn't say exactly 1, it says at least 1. Okay, what is the probability that she will make at least 1 free throw? Okay, at least 1 means she could make 1 or 2 or 3. Right? At least 1 means she could make only 1, she could make 2 of the 3, or she could make all 3 of the 3. Now, our values here are still going to be the same. We have n is equal to 3, that's our number of trials. In this case, R is going to be 1, 2, and 3, because we have all 3 cases we have to consider here. Our probability of success is still 1/2, and our probability of failure is also still 1/2. So what we're doing is we're doing the probability of her making exactly 1 plus the probability of her making exactly 2 plus the probability of her making exactly 3. Okay, so that's in essence what we're doing. To make at least 1, she's going to make 1 or 2 or 3. So all we're going to do is add these 3 probabilities together. We already figured out what the probability of 1 was. That was 0.375. But let's do the probability of 2. Probability of 2 would be 3c2 p to the 2 q to the first. Remember, this 2 right here, that's your R value. This 1 right here is just n minus R. This is your P, this is your Q. Okay, and then we have to do the same thing for the probability of exactly 3. So in this case, it's 3C3. Remember the formula for P of R is NCR. And then it's P, oops, hold on one second. Don't need a parenthesis there. It's P, so the probability of success to the number of successes times the probability of failure to the number of failures. If you can't see that, that's n minus R there. Okay, so probability of success times the number of successes, probability of failure times the number of failures. That's what n minus R is. It's just the number of failures. Okay, so for probability of exactly 3, we have 3C3. Our probability of success is 1/2. To the third, our probability of failure is 1/2. to the 0. Okay, now these again we can do in our calculator. I'm going to just move this over here. I'm going to do second vars. I'm going to go down to binom PDF. Remember, it's n, which is 3. P, our probability of success, is 0.5. And in this case, for the second one, R is 2. So I end up again with 0.375. Okay, so let me write that down here. Oops, we've got 0.375 for the first one, 0.375 for the second one. And now let's do the third one. Second vars, scroll down, binom PDF. 3 is our n value, 0.5 is our p value, and r is our number of successes, so that's also 3. And that comes out to be plus 0.125. And so if we just add those together, 0.125 plus 0.375 plus 0.375, we end up with 0.875 as our probability of her making at least one free throw. Okay? Let's look at another one. It says students are assigned randomly to one of 3 guidance counselors. What is the probability that Counselor Jenkins will get 2 of the next 3 students assigned? So the probability that the counselor will be assigned one of the 3 students is 1/3. So that wording is kind of weird, right? But if there's 3 guidance counselors, the student has a 1/3 chance of getting any one of the 3, right? Because there's 3 guidance counselors to choose from. Okay, so if we use our formula, so n here is 3 because it's the next 3 students. So the total number of trials is 3. The number of successes here is 2 because we want to know the probability of them getting 2 of the 3. Our probability of success is 1/3, which means our probability of failure has to be 2/3, right? These two numbers have to add up to 1. Okay, they have to add up to 1. So if we go ahead and plug into our formula, we have 3C2, and I have 1/3 to the second times 2/3 to the first. Okay, this is the number of failures. And again, I can do that all in my calculator. Second vars. Let me move my calculator over here so we can see all of our numbers. I'm going to scroll down to binom PDF. Remember, it's NPR. So N is 3. P is our probability of success. I'm going to actually just put it in as the fraction instead of converting it to a decimal. So just put it right in as 1/3. And then R is 2. Close your parentheses, enter, and you'll get your answer there. It's 0.22 repeating. So about 0.22 is that probability. Okay, one more problem like this. It says Ellen takes a multiple choice quiz that has 5 questions with 4 answer choices for each question. So I think it's important before we even go past that first sentence to kind of decipher what all the different numbers are. There's 5 questions. That tells us there's 5 trials, right? There's 5 different questions she's going to be completing. So I know that n is 5. Okay, if there's 4 answer choices, that means she has a 1 in 4 chance of getting it correct. Right? You guys know that from taking multiple choice quizzes and tests. So the probability of success is 1/4, which means that the probability of failure has to be 3/4. Okay, the only other part I need is my R value. And in this problem it says, what is the probability that she will get at least 2 answers correct by guessing? So at least 2, that means of the 5, she could get 2 right, 3 right, 4 right, or 5 right. So our probability of at least 2 is going to be the probability of 2 plus the probability of 3 plus the probability of 4 plus, I'm going to squeeze it in, probability of 5. Okay, so the probability of 2 is going to be 5C2, 1/4 to the second, 3/4 to the third. Probability of 3 is going to be 5C3, 1/4 to the third, 3/4 to the second. Here's a little helpful hint. Notice my exponents here always add up to that first number. Okay, they have to. Okay, then I'm going to write it underneath. 5C4, 5C4, got 1/4 to the 4th power, there's 1/4 to the first, plus 5C5, 1/4 to the 5th power, oops, sorry, this was supposed to be 3/4, and 3/4 to the 0 power. Okay, now I'm going to put all of this into my calculator, into that binom function. Now here's what is also really cool. You could do these all individually and then add them up like we did in the last problem, or we can just keep adding on to the binom. So let me show you what I mean. We could do second vars. Now in my calculator, it's option 0, so you don't have to scroll down every time. You could just press 0. I'll show you the next time. So if I press enter here, okay, I know my values here. N is 5. My p-value is 1/4. My r value is 2. And then I'm just going to go plus. And then I'm going to go second vars. Mine was option 0. So I'm just going to press 0. And then I'm going to do 5, comma, 1/4, comma, 3. Close my parentheses. Then I'm going to go plus, and then I'm going to go second vars, option 0, 5, comma, 1/4, comma, 4, plus second vars, go down option 0, and it's 5, comma. Now I keep putting in 1/4 as the fraction. If you want to put it in as the decimal, you can do that, right? 0.25. I generally will put the fraction in case it's a fraction that goes on and on forever. Like 1/3 is 0.3 repeating. So I find it easier to just put in the fraction because then it's not cutting it off at all. Whereas 1/4 is 0.25 and that's the end of the decimal. You could put that in, but that's how I tend to do it. Okay, so 1/4, comma, 5 because that's the last one. And if you press enter, it'll do it all for you. And it comes out to be about 0.37. Okay, so hopefully that helps everybody. I'll see you guys tomorrow in class. Have a great rest of your day. Bye, folks.